Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for being here on this historic day. As some of you know, politics have shaped who I am. As a small child, I was forced to leave my home country of Cuba with my parents on a Pan Am flight destined for Miami in the late 60s. She's that old? She acts like a kid. Maybe she's senile. Great, now we gotta replace this president too. In the Miami of the 60s, 70s, and 80s, there was no freedom of speech. Not among the Cuban populace, anyway. You didn't have a right to voice your own opinion or even ask certain questions. There was no objectivity. There was no middle ground. You were either communist or you weren't. So early on, I learned to keep my open-mindedness to myself, and I learned not to open my mouth about politics. But I've always voted, even when I lived abroad. Mailed in my ballot all the way from Florence on one of the world's slowest mail service. And it got here just in time. Now, you know I'm opinionated, but like a good Gemini, I always try to see the other side. Well, usually. Because there are times I simply cannot. Things are just too obvious, too cut and dry. People just make it easy for me to think one way, believe one way, vote one way. And that's led me to take a stance. And so I'm announcing right here, right now, that I'm running for office. Yes, you heard right. I have to run for office. I can't sit back any longer and watch things happen. I can't pretend that everything's going to be okay, because it's not. It's just going to keep getting worse. After all, this is 2020, an excruciatingly life-altering year, replete with a fashionable virus that knows no boundaries, an eruption of long-standing racial, gender, and class inequities of great magnitude that, while previously silenced, overlooked, and ignored, are now free to roam the highways of our quarantine imaginations the world over. And so I've decided that on this highly prolific year, I must take a stance and speak up for what I believe. I must overcome my fears, open myself up to public scrutiny, and thrust myself onto the political arena with one clear message. The leaf blower, a motorized gardening tool that blows air from a nozzle and moves leaves and other undesirable organic material from one neighbor's lawn to another. California welcomed the leaf blower as the grand solution to its drought conditions, since water restrictions limited the amount of hosing permitted to move leaves and other undesirable organic material from one neighbor's lawn to another. But our forefathers never imagined that these evil little machines would be such a huge source of air pollution. Worse yet, they did not consider that the internal combustion engines would be such a huge source of noise pollution. According to the experts at Wikipedia, the pollutants emitted by leaf blowers have been linked to cancer, heart disease, and asthma. Dust clouds caused by leaf blowers contain potentially harmful substances such as pesticides, mold, and get a hold of this, animal fecal matter. What? Yes, animal fecal matter, which causes irritation, allergies, and disease. Not to mention it stinks like crap. Leaf blowers are an occupational hearing hazard, not only for the 1 million people who work in lawn service, but to anyone, like me, unlucky enough to leave their windows open on Saturday morning gardening day. The leaf blower, the most useless, obnoxiously rambunctious, and disease-causing contraption on the face of Huntington Beach Gardens. Ban the leaf blower, I say. Vote Rossy Sanchez for Huntington Beach City Council. I'm Rossy Sanchez, and I approve this message. Monsieur Toastmaster?
Wow.